We did want to play you this. It was Ronan O'Gara yesterday. It was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, everybody's asking anybody involved, even tangentially, with Irish rugby in the current squad, whether or not we should be trying to win the World Cup. And like we're in that phase of the belief system where everyone's like, yeah, well, this is a possibility. And like, I'm sure the players feel this as well, that like they're going to be asked this question, they need an answer for it. So here's what Ronan O'Gara's answer was when he was asked about Ireland's chances in the World Cup.
This current group, they are hugely consistent, they have a brilliant coach, and they have a lot of competition for places. But the timing has to be right when the World Cup comes around. Sport is so unpredictable. Look, current group in green have been really impressive. I mean, they have a coach who believes that they can win it and maybe should win it, which is a big comment, but I think with the belief they get from him, everything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's not saying we're going to go and win the World Cup. There's no tub-thumping, chest-thumping from Ireland at this stage ahead of the World Cup because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
No. Previous experiences have taught us that that sort of attitude doesn't always work. But was it always kind of aggressive, sort of tricolour in the air, we're going to win the World Cup sort of thing?
No. In fairness, it wasn't. It never was.
No.
Because there's always New Zealand. And we all know that New Zealand are going to win the World Cup. We were told on this very show we should just hand them over the trophy.
Yeah, like crown them now.
Yeah.
We'll play the final now.
Chris is right. Chris is right. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/off-the-ball. Just want to play you this, though. It's Matt Williams and Keith Wood talking about Ronan O'Gara being inducted into the Rugby Hall of Fame at Rugby yesterday.
Until half an hour ago that he was inducted in. And I'd been talking about him earlier on, and we were talking about some of his pure excellence that he had. He's a man who delivered on every stage, you know, and had an unbelievably long career, but a phenomenal winner and absolutely deserving of his place in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would think so. Matt, does he get the credit he deserves in the Southern Hemisphere? Sometimes, you know, from afar, it can be, well, the lads in green are Brian O'Driscoll and the rest.
I think the answer to that, Joe, is no, he doesn't. And I think you've mentioned the name there. If he wasn't in the same generation as Brian, ROG would be regarded as Ireland's greatest back since Jackie Kyle. He had a phenomenally successful career, the trophies he won, and so on. But I think he wasn't, or has never been given the credit outside of Ireland that he deserves. And I think the recognition that being placed in the Hall of Fame gives him on the world stage is a rich reward. Because, you know, although I never coached Rog, but I coached against him a lot. And, you know, he wasn't a good player, he was a fantastic player.
Yeah, the great part about O'Gara's rugby story is that it's not written yet. Like, the coaching aspect of his career has gone from, ooh, look, that's a really interesting decision to go there, and then he gets promoted within Racing, and now he's off to New Zealand, and he's like, yeah, they double down, they come back for a second year in the most successful, best rugby team. I mean, them and Leinster, obviously, in that
would be a match worth setting up
in the world. So there was some chatter about that. It would be a good idea.
Yeah,
you could find a window. Like if you could add that and then have the international series that starts
in July.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to see that?
Wouldn't be a bad shout. I wonder with Ronan O'Gara, does the IRFU have a duty of care when it comes to Ronan O'Gara, that they see an Irishman spreading his wings abroad and are like, he's probably going to come back to these shores eventually. We need to keep a close eye on exactly what he's doing. Of course, so far, it's going very, very well. But say if the RFU thinks, now's the time to get Ronan O'Gara if we want him to develop into the coach he is. So let's just say Ireland win the World Cup next year. Let's say Leinster win the Champions Cup again this season. So the latter is definitely a life possibility. The former probably a little bit less. But let's just say it happens, or even a final and they come close to New Zealand. Then suddenly the IRFU can look at their own structures and say, we're doing pretty well here. We've got some of the best coaches in the world here. If Joe Schmidt stays on, then suddenly at Leinster you've got Stuart Lancaster, Leo Cullen, you've got Joe Schmidt in your own setup. And Ronan O'Gara has run his course with Canterbury Crusaders and he's ready for the next move. Does the IRFU then say to themselves, well, if we want to take him to the next level, we've got the best coaches on our shores. He's an Irishman. We need to bring him back home here ASAP, and he's got to be satisfied with whatever role we're going to give him, even if he wants to become a head coach. Like, I wonder at what point do they need to look at that and all those Irish coaches abroad and take it upon themselves to actually turn them into the coaches that they want them to be.
I guess there's like, you can't create a job and somebody else is kind of paying them at the moment and doing that, developing them into those coaches. So, like, we have backs coaches. The Wild Geese coaching graphic from the other day, was it the players? But I think there's a coaching
coaches as well. Rui O'Connor had it in the
yeah. Like, it's great that those clubs are paying for the development of those coaches. I mean, this is kind of the opposite side where the coaches start to go, well, hang on a second, we're paying a lot of the wages of these players. Anyway, the RFU aren't going to pay for all those coaches, and actually they get much better day-to-day match experience.
Yeah.
So maybe you make a decision that this guy is going to be, but like, is it him and O'Connell? At some point, there's talk that they'll join together. They'll, some kind of superhero movie and go and take over Munster, and then after Munster roll into the Ireland gig. I don't know. I mean, that's all. It's all the land of fantasy, but it will be pretty interesting.
What is the first domino there, actually? Is it for, I don't know, for club rugby in the Southern Hemisphere to completely take over, and then Razzie Erasmus gets poached by the Stormers, and then the Springboks poach Johan van Gran, and then suddenly Munster are like Paul O'Connell, Ronan O'Gara, superhero movie right here in Thomond Park?
I think a couple of years away. No?
Yeah, but do you think that's the first, like, where does the domino have to fall for Johan van Gran? Say if he has a very successful couple of years with Munster, for that to happen, because...
Who knows? I mean, maybe they don't take over Munster. Maybe they take over something else, and then they're all to Ireland and come back. I don't know.
Or maybe they take over Leinster after, Lancaster and Leo Cullen are the All Blacks coaches, and then there's like this ultimate trade-off where it's like, give us Paulie and Rog and we'll give you Joey Carberry, and then that's how the whole story ends.
I mean, it's too late for that. That bit's already done. You gave that away already. Can't go, that thing that I gave you need to pay me for it now. I was like, well, hang on, I was like, what?
Always lead with good stuff is what I say, use your biggest bargaining chip first.